The last thing Maya saw was the red taillights. They blinked once. Then the rental van disappeared around the curve like it had never been there. Cold air rushed up from the road and slapped her face. A gust kicked dust into her eyes. Her suitcase lay on its side in the gravel, zipper half open. Her clothes spilling out like a secret she didn't mean to show the world. And somewhere in the dark, inside that van, her husband was laughing. Not just him. His friends too. Their voices were loud, messy, drunk with the kind of joy that only comes when someone else is suffering. "Wait, wait, look at her," one of them shouted, and Maya heard the window go down for a second. "Wave, Maya. Wave like you're in a movie." The van swerved slightly, like the driver did it on purpose, like he wanted to scare her. Maya took one step forward. "Ethan!" she screamed, her voice cracking against the hills. "Ethan!" Her throat burned. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt her ribs. The van didn't slow. It didn't stop. It didn't even hesitate. It just kept going deeper into the Spanish night, leaving her alone on a road that didn't even have a streetlight. Maya's fingers shook as she reached into her jacket for her phone. No signal. She tried again, lifting it higher like the sky might care if she begged the right way. One bar appeared, then vanished. The battery flashed red. 3%. A laugh escaped her mouth, but it wasn't funny. It was the sound you make when your mind doesn't know where to put the fear. She turned in a slow circle. Darkness on all sides. A distant town far below. Just a scatter of warm lights, like someone dropped a handful of gold on black velvet. The road behind her was empty. The road ahead was empty. Even the wind felt like it was avoiding her. Her suitcase was half open. Her passport was not in it. Because Ethan had it. He had insisted earlier. "It's safer if I carry both passports, babe. You know, just in case." Just in case. Maya pressed her fingers to her forehead. The skin there was damp with sweat, even though the air was cold. A car passed in the distance, far away, its headlights sweeping over the hills for a second, then gone. She wanted to run into the road, throw her arms out, scream for help. But something in her froze. Because what if it wasn't safe? What if the next car didn't stop? What if it did? Maya swallowed hard. Her lips tasted like dust. Her phone buzzed. Message. 1%. She tapped it with shaking fingers. Video. Ethan had sent her a video. For a second, her brain refused to understand. It felt like her mind stepped back from her body, like it didn't want to be here for what came next. She hit play. The screen showed the inside of the van. Ethan's face filled the frame, smiling wide, eyes bright like a kid on a playground. "You okay out there?" he said, pretending to sound concerned. Behind him, his friends were howling with laughter, banging on the seats, chanting her name like it was a joke. Then Ethan leaned closer to the camera and whispered, like he was sharing something cute. "Relax, babe. It's just a prank. We'll come back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Maya stared at the screen. Because she suddenly remembered something Ethan had said earlier that day, while they were driving through the mountains. He'd been talking to his friends in the front seat, thinking she couldn't hear through her headphones. And he'd laughed and said, "She needs to be taught not to get so comfortable." Her phone died. The screen went black in her hand. And Maya understood, right there on that dark road, that this wasn't about a prank. This was about power. And what Maya didn't know yet, what she couldn't know yet, standing in the gravel with her suitcase spilling open, was that the same hands that pushed her out of that van were already signing papers that would erase her name, her rights, and her whole life. Ethan thought he'd left her stranded. But he had actually left her awake. And when Maya finally walked back into his world, she wouldn't be begging for an apology. She would be carrying proof. Proof that would destroy him in front of everyone he was trying so hard to impress. Maya's first instinct was to chase the van. That's what fear does. It makes you run after the thing that hurt you, like maybe you can grab it by the bumper and force it to care. She took 3 steps down the road, then stopped. Silence. The kind of silence that makes you feel small. She looked down at her hands. They were trembling so hard her fingers looked blurry in the moonlight. "Okay," she whispered to herself. Okay. Think. She tried to remember the last town sign she'd seen. Something like San or Santa. Or maybe it was just her panic twisting letters into nonsense. She tried to remember how far they'd driven since the last gas stop. 40 minutes. An hour. And the worst part was this. She had let Ethan handle everything. Plans. The directions. The hotel check-ins. Passports. 'Cause it was easier. 'Cause he liked being in charge. And she'd told herself that was just his personality. Just his confidence. Now it felt like a trap. Maya crouched beside her suitcase and forced herself to zip it closed, hands fumbling in the dark. She strapped the handle and pulled it upright. The wheels crunched over gravel as she dragged it toward the shoulder. Her body was running on adrenaline, but her mind was starting to catch up. Spain was beautiful. Everyone said so. Spain was safe. Everyone said so. But Maya was alone, with no phone, no passport, no money she could access without her phone, and no idea where she was. And the man who promised to protect her was the one who put her here. A faint glow appeared down the hill. Light. Building. Maya squinted, her eyes watering. It looked like a small place. Maybe a bar, maybe a roadside cafe, maybe someone's home. She took a breath and started walking. The road sloped downward, curving between dark trees and rocky hills. Every sound made her flinch. A distant dog barked. A bird rustled in the branches. Something moved in the brush and she imagined a person stepping out. She kept walking. Her suitcase bumped over cracks in the road like a metronome counting down her fear. When she reached the light, she realized it wasn't a cafe. It was a small stone building with a hand-painted sign that said pension, and a name she couldn't fully read. Guest house. The door was closed, but warm light spilled through the window. Maya walked up to it and knocked. Nothing. She knocked again, harder. The step was. Then the door opened a crack. An older woman looked at her with tired eyes. Her hair was pulled back, her face lined but strong. She spoke Spanish fast, words flowing like water. Maya's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I'm sorry, Maya said in English, voice shaking. I need help. Please. My husband, he left me. My phone. The woman's eyes narrowed, scanning Maya's face, then her suitcase, then the empty road behind her. She didn't look surprised. She looked angry. Not at Maya. The situation. She opened the door wider and stepped aside. Entra, she said. Come in. Maya stumbled inside, and the warmth hit her like a blanket. She almost cried from relief alone. The guest house smelled like soup and clean laundry. A small TV played softly in the corner. Somewhere in the back, a kettle whistled. The woman shut the door behind Maya and locked it. Then she looked directly into Maya's eyes and said in careful English, "You are safe here." Maya's chest tightened. Thank you. I don't have my passport. I don't have my phone. The woman held up a hand. Sit. Breathe. Maya sat on a wooden chair and gripped the edge of the table like it was the only solid thing left in her world. The woman poured her water. Then, without asking, she poured a second cup with something dark and warm that smelled like coffee. She slid it to Maya. Maya wrapped her hands around it. The heat soaked into her skin, and she felt herself come back to her body. The woman pulled out a small notebook and a pen. Name. Maya Carter, she said. The woman wrote it down. Where is husband? Maya stared at the table. The shame hit her hard because even now, a part of her wanted to defend him. Wanted to say, he didn't mean it. He's just immature. He's drunk. But the truth sat in her throat like a stone. He left me on the road, Maya said softly. The woman's jaw tightened. On purpose. Maya nodded. The woman muttered something under her breath in Spanish that Maya didn't understand, but she understood the feeling. It sounded like a curse made of fury. Then the woman asked, You have family? Friend? Maya swallowed. In the U.S. But I can't contact anyone. The woman stood. We will. She walked to the counter and picked up a landline phone. Landline. Maya hadn't used one in years. The woman dialed, spoke quickly, listened, then spoke again. Her tone was sharp, like she was cutting through red tape with her voice. She hung up and faced Maya. "Police come," she said. Maya's stomach dropped. "Police? No, I don't want trouble. I just want my husband to come back." The woman stared at her for a long second. Then she said very calmly, "Your husband made trouble." 15 minutes later, a Guardia Civil car pulled up outside, blue lights flashing softly against the stone walls. 2 officers came in, a man and a woman. The female officer spoke some English. "What happened?" she asked. Maya tried to explain. Her words spilled out messy: road, van, prank, no passport, no phone. The officer's face didn't soften. It hardened. "Your husband took your passport?" she asked. "He said he was keeping it safe," Maya said. "But yes, he has it." The male officer asked questions in Spanish. The guest house owner answered, gesturing toward the road, her voice rising with anger. The female officer turned back to Maya. "Do you know where they go?" "Hotel name." Maya blinked, trying to remember. "Madrid," she said. "We were supposed to go to Madrid tomorrow. Tonight. They said they booked something in a nearby city. I don't know the name." "Ethan handled it." The officer nodded, already moving. "We can find the rental company. We can find the booking. But first you will stay here." Maya's throat tightened. I feel stupid." The guest house owner snapped something in Spanish, fast and sharp. The female officer translated, with a small, grim smile. She says, "You are not stupid. You are lucky you found her door." Maya looked at the older woman and saw something in her eyes that made Maya's stomach twist. Like she'd seen this before. Like Maya wasn't the first woman to show up shaking in the night because a man thought cruelty was funny. The police left to make calls. The guest house owner, her name was Lucia, showed Maya a small room upstairs with a clean bed and thick blankets. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, trying to understand how her life had turned into this. She thought about the first time she met Ethan. He had been charming, loud, confident. The kind of man who could walk into a room and make it feel like a party. Maya had been working late at a marketing firm in Chicago, tired and broke and proud. Ethan came in for a client meeting, wearing a perfect suit, flashing that perfect smile. He'd noticed her. He'd made her feel chosen. And for a while it felt like a fairy tale. Then the little things started. "How much was that?" he'd ask when she bought something small. "Do you really need to see your friends again this weekend?" He'd say with a laugh, but the laugh didn't reach his eyes. "You're so sensitive," he'd tell her when she cried. Over time, Maya learned to adjust herself. To shrink the parts of her that bothered him. Keep peace. And when he suggested a trip to Spain with his work friends, she thought it was a fresh start. A chance to feel like a couple again. Now she was alone in a small town she couldn't even name, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like someone else's laundry, while her husband laughed somewhere over wine and tapas, telling a story about how dramatic she was. Maya lay down, but sleep didn't come. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the taillights. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the window like nothing bad had ever happened. Birds chirped outside. A church bell rang in the distance. Maya walked downstairs and found Lucia making bread and slicing fruit. Lucia looked up. "Coffee?" Maya nodded, grateful. While she ate, the police returned. The female officer looked serious. "We found the rental vehicle," she said. "It was returned this morning in Ronda." Ronda. So that was the town. "We contacted the rental company," the officer continued. "The driver is registered as Ethan. Ethan Carter." Maya's stomach flipped. "Yes. And the hotel in Ronda is registered under his name," she said. "We went there." Maya leaned forward. "Did you tell him?" The officer held up a hand. "He is not there." Maya's breath caught. "What? Where is he?" The officer's eyes narrowed. "He checked out early. His group left for Madrid this morning." Maya felt heat rise in her face. So he didn't come back, she whispered. The officer's voice was calm but firm. He reported you as lost. He told the hotel staff you wandered off at night after drinking and refused to return. Maya went still. Felt like the floor tilted. He said that? Maya asked. The officer nodded. This is important. He is creating a story. It protects him and makes you look unstable. Maya's hands curled into fists under the table. Lucia muttered a curse again. The officer leaned closer. We can help you file an official report. But also, we can help you get to the U.S. Embassy in Madrid. You will need emergency travel documents because your passport is with him. Maya's head spun. Embassy. Emergency documents. Police report. All because Ethan thought it was funny. Maya swallowed hard. I just want my passport back, she said. The officer looked at her. And what else? Maya didn't answer, because the truth was starting to rise inside her like a storm. What else? Respect. Justice. A life where she wasn't treated like a toy. The officer continued. There is another thing. When we spoke to the hotel clerk, she said your husband was angry. Not worried. Angry. He said you were ruining his weekend. Maya's jaw tightened. The words echoed in her mind. Ruining his weekend. Like she was a spilled drink. Like she was an inconvenience. The officer stood. We will escort you to Madrid. You can decide what to do next. As the police car drove through the mountains, Maya watched the landscape roll past. Olive trees, white houses, cliffs and valleys. It was beautiful. And she felt nothing. She kept replaying Ethan's face in that video. The smile. The whisper. The idea that her fear was entertainment. When they reached Madrid, the city swallowed her with noise and crowds and traffic. The embassy was a large building with security gates. Maya walked in feeling like she had stepped into someone else's life. Inside, an embassy worker helped her start paperwork for an emergency passport. Maya had to answer questions. Where was she born? What was her address? Who could verify her identity? When they asked if she had any identification, Maya had to admit most of it was in her suitcase. And her suitcase was in Lucia's guest house. She felt like a child again, lost and dependent, and she hated it. But then something happened. An embassy worker, a woman with kind eyes, looked at Maya and said softly, Do you want to contact someone back home? Maya blinked. Yes, she whispered. They let her use a phone. Maya called her sister, Talia, in Chicago. When Talia answered, Maya heard her voice and something inside Maya broke. Tal, Maya said, and her voice cracked. I'm in Spain. Ethan left me on the road. I don't have my passport. What? Talia's voice went sharp like a knife. Where are you? Are you safe? Maya, tell me where you are right now. Maya gave her the details, as much as she could. Talia didn't hesitate. I'm calling a lawyer, she said. And I'm putting a freeze on anything with your name on it. Do you hear me? I'm not asking. Maya blinked. A freeze. Talia's voice lowered. Maya, I know you don't want to hear this, but that man has been moving weird for months. You kept saying it was work stress. But I looked at your joint account last week when you asked me about that missing charge. It wasn't missing. It was moved. Maya went cold. Moved where? I don't know, Talia said. But I'm finding out. Maya felt dizzy. Tal, what are you saying? I'm saying this isn't a prank, Talia said. This is him showing you who he really is. Maya's hands shook as she hung up. Because suddenly, the night on the road wasn't just humiliation. It was a warning. Message. You're not safe with him. And then, while she waited in the embassy lobby, another message arrived. This time on an embassy computer where she had logged into her email. It was from Ethan. Subject line. Where the hell are you? Maya's heart pounded as she opened it. Maya, stop being dramatic. This is not funny anymore. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. You always do this. I'm in Madrid with the guys. I don't have time for your meltdown. If you're at some hotel, just stay there. I'll deal with you when I get back. And don't you dare call my boss or my mother. This stays between us. Maya stared at the words. No apology. No concern. Just anger. Control. Regret. And at the bottom, like a cherry on top of cruelty, he wrote, "You're lucky I'm even willing to come back for you." Maya's fingers hovered over the keyboard. For a moment, she wanted to type a paragraph of pain. She wanted to tell him how scared she had been. How she could have died. How she trusted him. Then she stopped, because she realized something that changed everything. Ethan didn't care about her fear. He cared about his image. So Maya didn't reply. She forwarded the email to Talia. And to the embassy worker helping her. And to herself. And then she sat back in the chair, feeling something new settle into her chest. Not helplessness. Not heartbreak. Clarity. That night, Maya stayed in a small hotel near the embassy. She didn't have much money accessible, but Talia booked it for her with her own card. Maya lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The city hummed outside. Car horns. Distant music. Laughter. Somewhere in this same city, Ethan was drinking, bragging, telling stories. Maya wanted to confront him. To walk into whatever bar he was in and slap his face. But revenge that's driven by emotion is messy. Leaves you with bruises. Maya didn't want a bruise. She wanted an ending. Clean one. In the morning she met a lawyer. Talia had moved fast. The lawyer was an American working with international clients in Spain. Someone who understood both systems. His name was Daniel Reyes. He was calm, sharp, and he listened without interrupting. When Maya finished, Daniel leaned back and said, "I'm going to ask you something, and it might sound harsh." Maya nodded. "Okay." "Why did your husband keep your passport?" he asked. Maya hesitated. "He said it was safer." Daniel didn't smile. "No. Why did he really keep it?" Maya swallowed. Daniel continued. "When one person holds the documents, they hold the movement. They control where you can go." Maya's hands went cold. Daniel slid a paper across the table. "We can file a report for theft of your passport. That's serious. Creates a record. We can also request police assistance to retrieve it." Maya stared at the paper. "And," Daniel added, "you should check your accounts. Your joint accounts. Your credit cards. Any loans. Anything with your name. I've seen men pull pranks like this as cover for financial moves. They keep you panicked while they clean out the house." Maya's stomach turned. She thought about Talia's warning. She thought about that missing charge. Suddenly, the open loop in her life widened into something terrifying. What had Ethan been doing while she was stranded? Daniel saw her expression and softened slightly. "Maya," he said, "you don't have to decide everything today. But you do have to protect yourself. Protect yourself." No one had said that to her in years. Because she had been busy protecting Ethan's feelings. Maya took a shaky breath. "Okay," she said. "What do I do first?" Daniel nodded. "First we secure your identity. Then we get your passport situation handled. Then, we look at the bigger picture." The bigger picture showed up faster than Maya expected. That afternoon Talia called again. "Maya," she said, voice tight. "I got into your online banking." Maya's chest tightened. "And?" Talia took a breath. "There are transfers, Maya. Big ones. Not just one. Over the past 3 months. And yesterday, last night, there was another one." Maya's mouth went dry. "How much?" Talia's voice cracked. "Almost all of it." Maya sat down hard on the hotel chair. She stared at the wall like it might turn into a different reality if she waited. "So, he did it," she whispered. "He did it," Talia confirmed. "And there's more. There's a new account opened under both your names. A loan application. And guess who signed?" Maya's heart pounded. "I didn't sign anything." Talia's voice lowered. "That's the point." Maya's hands shook so badly she had to hold the phone with both hands. "He forged my signature," she whispered. "And he made sure you couldn't stop him," Talia said. "Because you were stranded. Without your passport. Without your phone. Maya's eyes burned. Tears filled them, but her voice came out steady, colder than she recognized. Okay, she said. Okay, Tal. Talia paused. Maya, you sound different. Maya stared out the window at the Madrid street below. I am different, she said. When she hung up, she didn't cry. Not yet. She called Daniel. When Daniel heard what happened, his face went from concerned to focused. This is not a marriage problem, he said. This is criminal. Maya nodded slowly. What can we do? Daniel leaned in. We build a file. Evidence. Emails. Transfers. Anything with dates. Then we involve the right people. In the US and here. Maya swallowed. And Ethan. Daniel's eyes didn't flinch. Ethan doesn't know, you know. That's an advantage. Maya's mind flashed back to Ethan's email. I'll deal with you when I get back. For the first time she smiled. A small, tight smile. Let him think that. Let him keep laughing. Because Maya wasn't going to chase the van anymore. She was going to change the road. That evening, Maya did something she hadn't done in years. She called Ethan. He answered on the third ring, irritated. What? He snapped. Loud music thumped in the background. Men's voices shouted. Glass clinked. Maya forced her voice to sound small. Ethan, where are you? He sighed dramatically like she was a chore. I'm out. In Madrid. I told you. You left me, Maya said, letting her voice tremble. He laughed. Oh my God, Maya. It was a joke. You're alive, right? You're fine. Stop acting like I pushed you off a cliff. Maya swallowed, keeping her tone soft. I didn't have my passport, she said. I didn't have my phone. I was scared. Ethan's voice sharpened. Then you shouldn't have wandered off like a child. Maya closed her eyes. He was still trying to rewrite it. Still trying to make her the problem. Maya forced a sniffle. Can you bring my passport? She asked. Please. Ethan paused. The music in the background grew louder, like he moved the phone away to say something to someone. Then he came back. Yeah, he said. Tomorrow. We're heading to the airport in the afternoon. I'll meet you at the hotel. Just stop making it a thing. Maya took a breath. Which hotel? Ethan hesitated. Just for a second. Then he said a name. Fancy one. Course. Maya repeated it softly like she was grateful. Then she said, Ethan, are you mad at me? He laughed again, a cruel little sound. I'm mad that you ruined the vibe. The guys think you're dramatic. Maya swallowed. I'm sorry. Ethan's tone softened, but it wasn't kindness. It was the voice of someone who thinks they've won. Good, he said. Just be normal when I see you. Mel. Don't embarrass me again. Maya whispered. Okay. Then she hung up. And she immediately wrote down the hotel name, the time, every detail. Daniel looked at her notes and nodded. Good, he said. We'll be there. The next day, Maya stood in the lobby of the fancy hotel Ethan had named. Marble floors. Bright chandeliers. Business travelers in suits. A scent of expensive perfume and polished money. Maya wore simple clothes. Jeans, a sweater, hair tied back. She looked calm. But inside, her heart beat with a steady anger that felt like fuel. Daniel stood nearby, not too close. Just close enough. A Spanish police officer stood by the entrance, pretending to look at his phone. Maya watched the front doors. And then Ethan walked in. He looked perfect. Crisp shirt. Nice watch. Sunglasses even though they were indoors for a second. Behind him, two of his friends followed, laughing, still carrying that energy like life was a game. Ethan spotted Maya and smirked. There she is, he said, loud enough for people to hear. Our little runaway. One of his friends chuckled. You find a new family in the mountains, Maya? Maya kept her face neutral. She stepped closer to Ethan. You have my passport? She asked quietly. Ethan rolled his eyes and pulled a slim folder from his bag like he was doing her a favor. Here, he said. Can we go now? I don't want to miss my flight because you needed attention. Maya reached for it. And that's when the police officer stepped forward. "Senor Carter," the officer asked in Spanish, then in careful English. "We need to speak with you." Ethan blinked, confused. "What? Why?" The officer's expression didn't change. "There is a report. Stolen passport. And other matters." Ethan laughed, but it came out forced. "This is insane. She's my wife. I was holding it for her." Maya didn't speak. She let the officer talk. Because for once, Maya wasn't trying to explain Ethan to the world. The world could see him. Ethan's friends shifted uncomfortably. One of them muttered, "Bro, what did you do?" Ethan's eyes flicked to Maya, sharp and angry. "Maya," he hissed under his breath. "What is this?" Maya tilted her head slightly. "You said keep it between us," she said softly. "But you also said I'm lucky you're willing to come back for me." Ethan's jaw tightened. He leaned closer. "You're really doing this right now?" Maya held his gaze. "Yes." Daniel stepped forward, calm and professional. "Ethan Carter," he said. "I'm representing Maya Carter. You'll be contacted formally regarding the financial transfers and forged signatures." Ethan froze. His face changed. The smirk disappeared like a mask ripped off. "What financial transfers?" he snapped, but his eyes were darting now, calculating. Daniel didn't blink. "The ones that emptied the joint accounts," he said. "The loan application," he added. "The forged signatures." Ethan's friends stared at him. "What the hell?" one of them whispered. Ethan's voice rose. "That's not she's lying. This is a misunderstanding." Maya watched him. She didn't feel scared. She felt almost curious. Like she was watching an animal caught in a trap it didn't see. The police officer spoke again. "Senor, please come with us." Ethan stepped back. "I'm a U.S. citizen," he snapped. "You can't." The officer's eyes stayed flat. "You can. And you will." Ethan turned to Maya, eyes blazing. "You're going to regret this." Maya nodded slowly. "You're right," she said. "Someone is going to regret this." And then, with a last look of pure hatred, Ethan was walked out of the lobby. His friends didn't follow. They stood there, stunned, like the party music in their heads had cut off. One of them looked at Maya, suddenly uncomfortable. "Maya," he said, trying to sound friendly. "We didn't know. We thought it was just, like, a joke." Maya looked at him. "You thought leaving me stranded was a joke?" she asked. He opened his mouth, closed it. Maya continued, calm and clear. "You laughed while I stood on a dark road with no passport and no phone," she said. "You're not innocent. You're just surprised there are consequences." The man's face flushed. He looked away. Maya turned and walked out of the hotel lobby, Daniel beside her. The air outside felt different, cleaner. Like she had been holding her breath for years and hadn't realized it. Over the next week, the story unfolded like a knot being pulled tight, then cut. Ethan's accounts were traced. The transfers flagged. The loan application investigated. Evidence was sent to U.S. authorities through proper channels. Daniel coordinated with Talia's lawyer back home. Ethan tried to call Maya. Over and over. Maya didn't answer. He left voicemails. First angry. Then pleading. Then angry again. "Maya, stop. This is crazy. You're blowing everything up. We can talk. Please. You're making me look like a criminal." Criminal. Maya listened to one voicemail all the way through, then deleted it. Because she wasn't interested in how he looked. She was interested in what he did. One afternoon, Maya received an email from a woman she didn't know. The subject line made Maya's stomach drop. "I'm sorry. I didn't know he was married." Maya opened it. The email was from a woman named Claire. She wrote that she worked in Ethan's industry. They met at a conference. He told her he was separated. He said his wife was unstable. He said he was trying to handle it. Maya read the words slowly, feeling each one like a slap. Then she laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was predictable. Ethan had been building the unstable wife story for a long time. The road in Spain wasn't the beginning. It was just the moment Maya finally saw the whole map. Claire ended her email with, "I have messages. Proof. If you need it." Maya stared at the screen. Then she wrote back. "Yes," she typed. "I need it." 2 days later, Claire sent screenshots, text, and photos. And there it was, in Ethan's own words. "She's not going anywhere. She's dependent. She'd be lost without me." Maya stared at that line for a long time. Then she forwarded it to Daniel. And to Talia. And she saved it in her growing file. Because every cruel word Ethan ever said was becoming a brick in the wall that would keep him out of her future. A week later, Maya had her emergency passport. She was ready to fly home. Before she left, she visited Lucia one last time in Ronda. The small guest house looked the same. Warm. Solid. Lucia opened the door and pulled Maya into a fierce hug, like she was hugging a daughter. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "If you hadn't opened your door." Lucia held her by the shoulders and looked into her face. "You opened your own door," she said in English, slow and sure. "You walked. You knocked. You did not stay on the road." Maya swallowed hard. Lucia pressed something into Maya's hand. Small charm. Tiny metal key. "For you," Lucia said. "Reminder." Maya looked at it. "A key." Lucia nodded. "For remember. You have key now. Not him." Maya clutched it, feeling its cool weight. Then she left Spain. But she didn't leave the lesson there. Back in Chicago, the storm didn't calm right away. Ethan fought. He tried to twist the story. He told people Maya was overreacting. He said she was vindictive. He said she was trying to ruin him. Maya didn't argue with his words. She answered with facts. Bank records, emails, screenshots, police report, the embassy paperwork, the hotel details, timeline. One by one, Ethan's allies went silent. Because it's easy to defend a charming man until you're staring at his signature under someone else's name. Ethan's company put him on leave. Then fired him. A friend from his group, the loudest one, the one who laughed the hardest, quietly asked for a settlement in another legal matter, because it turned out the guy's trip had included more than just jokes. There were deals, cheating, things done in the dark that didn't look good in court. Karma doesn't always strike like lightning. Sometimes it moves like water. Quiet, steady, finding every crack. Maya sat in a courtroom months later, not because she wanted drama, but because she wanted closure. Ethan sat across from her. His suit still expensive, but his face less sure now. His eyes didn't sparkle. His smile didn't work. When the judge asked Maya if she had anything to say, Maya stood. Her hands didn't shake. She looked at Ethan for a second, then looked at the judge. "I didn't come here to punish him," Maya said, voice calm. "I came here to protect myself. I trusted him. I gave him my life. And he treated my fear like entertainment." Ethan's jaw tightened. Maya continued. "When he left me on that road, I thought it was the worst thing he could do. But it wasn't. The worst thing was realizing he wanted me powerless. He needed me small so he could feel big." The courtroom was quiet. Maya looked down at her hands, then back up. "So I'm not small anymore," she said. "And I'm not here to beg for kindness. I'm here because I believe actions have consequences." Ethan stared at her like he didn't recognize her. Because he didn't. The judge ruled. The divorce moved forward. The financial damage was addressed. The forged signatures were handled by the proper systems. And when Maya walked out of that building, the air felt bright, even on a cloudy day. Not because everything was perfect, but because she belonged to herself again. Months later, Maya sat in a small apartment she had rented on her own. It wasn't fancy. The couch was second-hand. The kitchen table was scratched. But it was hers. She hung the tiny metal key Lucia gave her on a hook by the door. Every time she left, she touched it. Reminder. You have the key now. One evening, Talia came over with pizza, and they ate on the floor because Maya still hadn't bought a dining set. Talia watched her quietly for a moment and said, "You know what's crazy?" Maya smiled. "What?" Talia shook her head. "He thought leaving you on a road would break you." Maya took a bite of pizza and chewed slowly. "Yeah," she said. Talia leaned closer. "But it built you." Maya swallowed, her eyes stinging. "Yeah," she whispered again. "And that's the part people don't understand about karma. Karma isn't just punishment. It's revelation. It shows you the truth you were trying not to see. And sometimes the revenge isn't about hurting the person who hurt you. Sometimes the revenge is becoming someone they can't control anymore. Because the real ending isn't Ethan losing his job, or losing his reputation, or watching his friends walk away when they realized he wasn't fun when consequences showed up. The real ending is this. Maya stopped apologizing for being human. She stopped calling cruelty a joke. She stopped shrinking to fit inside a man's comfort. She learned to trust the voice inside her that said, "This is wrong." And she listened. If you're watching this and you've ever been made to feel dramatic for having boundaries, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive when someone hurts you, if you've ever been left on an emotional road in the dark, holding the pieces of your own life, let this be your reminder. You don't need their permission to leave. You don't need their approval to protect yourself. You don't need to stay stranded. Knock on the door. Ask for help. Take your key back. And if you believe in karma, if you believe that what people do in the dark eventually steps into the light, then subscribe, because these stories aren't just entertainment. They're warnings. They're lessons. And sometimes, they're the exact courage someone needs to finally walk off the road and into a life that can't be stolen.